Well, thank you for staying with us on the AM show. After sports, we get into my blunt thoughts for you today. And this is going to be the last for the year. We all need to get some rest, don't we? This morning, I'm going to go a tad softer, but still share with you a lot that we can reflect on as a people. I've titled my blunt thoughts, Learning from the Best to be Better Than the Rest. Shining examples Ghana can follow. I want to reiterate that title. Learning from the best to be better than the rest. Shining examples Ghana can follow. Ghana for. We are in fact a great nation, like the finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta put it right before we went knocking on the IMF's doors. After all, our name, Ghana, means land of the warrior king. But we haven't attained the true height of our greatness yet because of our own ineptitude of crass leadership that yields little and purports to do much. That kind of leadership we must go past if we are to become all that we can. This is a challenge I'm throwing to young people especially as we approach elections in 2024. Use your heads and do not allow any member of parliament or member of the executive to buy your vote and by extension, your conscience, because that will come back to bite you and all of us hard. Let me touch briefly now on the economy. Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, you've successfully created the impression with this debt exchange program fiasco, as far as pension funds are concerned, that arm twisting is the only language government truly understands. Ken Ofori-Atta, Aiko, so what do we so? See a two for no wentia and soche bemoweti. I suppose there will be a lot more arm twisting in store for you and your government as you still refuse to listen in so many ways, some of which I shall point to shortly. Your push for the withdrawal of the e-levy threshold has been jettisoned. Your 80 million Ghana cedi vote for the National Cathedral with nothing to back up what it would be used for has also been thrown out. Now you've stepped aside from using pension funds. Thank God. But I ask, lessons learned? Who knows? Only time will tell. In the meantime, the producer price inflation has now hit 78.1%, causing even more price hikes. This is incredibly problematic, especially considering that inflation is now 50.3%. In the midst of all this, you wanted to touch pension funds, knowing very well that some 82% of Ghanaians contribute just a paltry sum of about 150 Ghana cedis as pension monthly. And President Akufo-Addo was also on the back of the National Cathedral project calling us Sambalat and Tobias because some of us are opposed to that needless elephantine project at a time like this. Go ahead, Mr. President, call me Sambalat, call me Tobias. It wouldn't change much. It's about conscience and where we find ourselves as a country. Anyway, we thank our parliamentarians, especially the minority side, for saving us that ignominy. All that said, let me share with you what other countries are doing, which we as Ghanaians can tap into. Now, I'm going to be very fair. Sometimes I use examples and people say, oh, but that is Malaysia. Oh, that is Singapore. Oh, that is South Korea, though they started just like us. I'm going to give you examples, shining examples from right here in Africa, things that we can emulate, make the most of. And Mr. President, I know you watch me. If next year we can put some of these into practice, believe me, Ghana will be a much better country. Come with me. Let's start with our focus on Ghana's imports. In 2020, rice was Ghana's third highest import, with a whopping import value of $391 million, only behind refined petroleum and car imports, like you can see from this bar graph or chart. 662 million for refined petroleum, cars with 492, but if you want to add delivery trucks, then the number will shoot up even higher than refined petroleum. But look in there, you would have coated flat rolled iron, and that's another area we should be looking at, especially as we industrialize. That is money we could have saved. But prominent in there, rice, $391 million. What we could have done with that is something all of us can just imagine. But why am I bringing that up? Because I'm going to be citing examples from different African countries to show why we need to adopt what they are doing. Nigeria's ban on rice imports. When did this come into force? 2015. There was reduction in imports by 98.4% in 7 months. 98.4%. Go back to the previous chart. 391 million. If we were saving even 95% of this, can you imagine what savings that would be to our country? And it's not that we don't have the capacity. We do. Let's go to the next slide. So this is what it means. Nigeria's rice imports, and our source, the Thai Rice Exporters Association, it fell from 957 metric tons to 15. Look at the difference. And we achieved that. Why not us? Mr. President, it can be done. Call on the Agric Minister. Let's do this. How about Tanzania? It has cancelled Independence Day celebrations 3 times for good reason. Tanzania has cancelled Independence Day celebrations 3 times and diverted funds for more profitable projects. More profitable projects, Mr. President. 2015, John Magufuli, while he was still alive, he used it for the construction of a road. We don't know exactly how much was involved, but they used it to construct a road. In 2020, John Magufuli again cancelled Independence Day celebrations, $360,000. They used it to purchase medical facilities to fight cholera, medical equipment to fight cholera. And the facilities also benefited. In 2022, the new leader, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has cut off 445,000. They are not going to have an Independence Day celebration. And that was diverted into the building of 8 dormitories for primary schools. I ask, Independence Day 2023, March the 6th, what exactly are we going to celebrate? No, I'm asking an honest question. You watching me on TV, what exactly are we going to celebrate? The money we're going to expend on that, we can expend like these countries are doing. Nigerian example, Tanzanian example. Let's move further. In 2015, Tanzania's president, like I mentioned, also ordered the cost of a party. A party, in this country, we get Eurobonds and we throw a Kenke party. Eurobond, then we throw a party. I'm sure SLA, Dokrano, staff level agreement, we wanted to throw a party, but people were, so for shege reasons, them chalk. If we get that IMF deal, I don't want to see any partying. We are not in the best of places. In 2015, Tanzania's president ordered the cost of a party to inaugurate the new parliament to be slashed from $100,000 to $7,000. Thinking sentient leadership. Now, Tanzania's government subsidy of petroleum prices, it doesn't end there. Look at the Fuel Price Stability Fund. Do you know why I'm bringing this up? Because we also have a fund. Yet the money that was meant to stabilize us so that we wouldn't feel the hits in our pockets on the back of rising fuel prices, that money has been expended elsewhere. So we can't account for it. 100 billion shillings was what was in the fund. The date introduced June the 1st, 2022. And the effect on fuel prices, every liter, there was a reduction since it was introduced by 110 shillings. If we had used those resources that we have in our pool for the right purpose, we wouldn't have felt the bite like we have. Christmas wouldn't be as bad as it is for some of us. Now, Togo. So I've spoken about Nigeria. I've spoken about Tanzania. Let's go to neighboring Togo. Cushioning consumers against inflation. The amount spent by government per month has been $20 million and still going on. $20 million. What have they channeled that in? Targeted goods. Wheat, corn, and fuel. Now, this is crucial. Wheat, of course, because of the bread and all of that. You've seen the prices of bread. I don't need to talk about it. The price of a loaf of bread is more than the minimum wage. Think about that. Corn. It's a staple. Your banku, your everything, practically kenke. We use it. Even for feed, for poultry. And now you know how the poultry industry is suffering. Look at that. They focused on that. And fuel. Why can't we think and do some of these things? Rwanda has raised the requirement for religious leadership. And I'm bringing this to the attention of the authorities so that we can think. Sometimes there's too much religiosity. And some of what we do here is inimical to our fortunes as a country, rather than to help us. Look, in Rwanda, as a progressive society, churches and mosques were closed due to disciplinary issues. Why can't we do that here in Ghana? What are we afraid of? More than 700 of them were shut. In terms of the new clerical requirements, it was stated that you would require a university degree. University degree before you can, set up a church and do all that. And the purpose was to bring order among churches. I believe this is something we can do here too. Let's regulate our society. Let's have a better society. Because sometimes the religiosity becomes a nuisance in our country. It is good. Religion is very good. But some of the way it is practiced here is just fleecing people. And I don't want to mention names, but we know the situation. My dear friends, as we wrap, how about tourism? Rwanda signed a deal with European football giants. Again, something we can tap into. The period 2019 to 2023 for the purpose of promoting tourism. We talk about the National Cathedral. These are practical things we can do to promote tourism. The deal arrangements, Paris Saint-Germain, is to promote Rwandan tourism and Rwandan products through kits and stadium branding. The deal valued $9 million to $11 million for 3 years. The previous deal was with Arsenal Football Club, $10 million per year, and it's still ongoing since 2018. The benefits, and this is where I take a lot of solace. More than 100% marketing benefits and a 5% increment in visitors yearly. 5% more visitors to Rwanda every year. Is this something we think we cannot do? And let's wrap. This is my final bit. Some of us have spoken about free SHS, free SHS. It is a good thing, but how you're handling it. Recently, I heard that the World Bank was helping us review free SHS. We need the World Bank to come and tell us to do that. We can't listen to ordinary Ghanaians. But look at the Kenyan example. Maybe that should throw some light on the situation. Free secondary education in Kenya. They started before us from the year 2008. Now, for day schools, parents are obliged to pay about 23% of the total. 23%. What stops us from doing that for day students? And for boarding schools, parents pay all fees with some government subsidy. All the fees are borne by parents with a little subsidy by parents. So you see, when we say some of these things, it's not out of air. It's out of practical thinking and what examples other countries are setting. Today, I wanted to set aside this session of Blunt Thoughts for us to reflect as a country on what other countries, neighboring countries in Africa, Nigeria, Tanzania, Rwanda, Togo, Kenya, are getting right that we are not. So as I end, voters in 2024 will determine where next our country will head. Between now and then, though, we must exact from our leaders, and I use the word exact because they refuse to willingly deliver what they must, the right policies and execution we need in order that our woes are not compounded even further and our burdens are not added to. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. I say all these things not out of mischief, but because I am an extremely passionate Ghanaian, extremely passionate about Ghana and what her future, intricately tied to ours, holds. These are my blunt thoughts served for you, raw, hot, unedited, and undiluted. God richly bless our motherland and make her great and strong.